Hello, my peeps. Welcome back to From Religion to Woohoo. This is your host, Angie. And of course, I have something to share. I, first of all, want to thank you for tuning in and listening because it really does mean a lot to me. And sharing the podcast and leaving reviews and all that is really helpful for me in expanding and growing this podcast and my business and everything. And I just want to really help and support people on this journey because, it is not an easy one. It is often very lonely. It kind of can feel like you're out in the middle of the ocean with a surfboard and you have no idea how to surf. And so it's like you're in this place of learning how to ride the waves of life when you have been placed in this new understanding of the world and new way of living, like your perspective, the way you show up, everything. And what is really awesome and challenging about this journey of moving away from a religious mindset is that this provides an opportunity for very deep healing. Anybody on the spiritual awakening journey or that has moved through some of it will know that this is a time of really reflecting and digging into your own shit. Almost like taking, in my book, I write about this in my book, Leaf Lessons, when trauma and religion collide in the process of spiritual awakening and healing, which should be released pretty soon, so be watching for that. But I talk about how in the healing process, sometimes we have to actually dig into old wounds to heal them. And it's like I refer it to as a scar tissue. And over our lives, we've kind of built up this wall or boundary or way of deflecting a wound in our life, and it just gets buried down deep inside of us. And in order to really heal, sometimes we have to rediscover what that wound is and let the infection out. Like, cut it open, dig down into it, and squeeze out the ick, because it's the ick that keeps getting hit up against and causes us to kind of go into these places that we don't always like to be, or react to things that we don't like. We may not like how we react, or become defensive, or angry about things that and afterwards we're just kind of like, why, what was I. A lot of shame comes with those moments. And so healing really requires us to have moments of being truly authentic with ourselves. There is it's funny, as I move away from religion, I'm starting to understand the Bible more so than I did even when I was in it. But like there's a scripture or a passage rather in the Christian Bible, I guess I would call it, that says a man will look in the mirror and walk away and forget what he looks like. And this is very similar to what it's like on the spiritual journey in doing shadow work. For a long time, it's been easy to like look in the mirror, see the flaw, and ignore it and walk away. And I don't know if any of you have experienced this in your healing journey, but there's times I look back at like pictures of myself, or I think back to a time of like how I've responded to something in life. And I just have this like sudden realization that I'm not that person anymore. And what took me away from that person was being able to look in the mirror and really see really see me, really see what needs to be healed, and to let that part be exposed so that it can be healed, and being authentic and real about it. Because when we're trying to like hide our flaws, hide our wounds, hide our, my limited mindsets and all that, we just keep digging ourselves deeper into them. And that's where all the conflicts come from in the world. That's where we come into this religious mindset where I have to be in competition over you for me to succeed. And we just start to wound each other, like, instead of loving each other. And I had really something interesting pop up in this last few days. I'm really in the middle of my Chiron healing, and a lot of things going on in my own astrological movements right now that I've been following. And I've even like sought out psychics and stuff to like dig into what's going on with my planets and all that. But there have been a couple of times as I have pushed forward in starting my business, getting my book out and all these things, where I have come across people that have felt almost threatened, or like they had to defend themselves, or they had to come into competition with me, or they felt the need to compare services or whatever. And what I am coming to understand through my process of healing and coming away from this hierarchy, religious mindset where we all feel like we have to work in this very masculine energy of showing up in the world, is that we all have a very limited mindset. Like, we have this lack mindset that there's not enough for me and you at the same time. And so we end up getting in these conflicts and competitions and start to devalue another person's calling and service to the world, because we feel like that might take away from our service and calling. And the honest thing about all this is that if we take a step back out of our own egos, out of our woundings, out of our program mindset, out of our little child self that feels unseen and unheard, or maybe, was told to be quiet and not cry, whatever that part of us is, we can step into our consciousness, into our spirit self, and we can see things from a very different view, from a view of a universe that is full of abundance, that is full of opportunity, that is full of giftings, that is full of basically everything. Like, I've said this before on the podcast, but there is, here on earth, we have this opportunity to grow and learn because we're in a low vibration. This is not our true authentic self is our spirit self. And in that spirit self, we are connected. We're all connected. We're connected to the earth. We're connected to one another. We're connected to the divine. We're connected to our spirit guides, to our ancestors that have passed on before us. We are all connected. And we're even connected to those who are still yet to come on the earth. And because energetically, we're all from the exact same source. We all come from the same source. And when we start to get in this limited mindset that I can't have if you have, or I'm taking from you, or, I almost fearful that somebody else might be good at something that you want to be good at, then we forget that it's not about overcoming each other. It's about love and healing and wisdom and guidance from the universal energy and divine being that we are all from. It's not about, I'm here to control you And if I can't control that or be above it, then then you're wrong and I'm right, or I'm right and you're wrong. It's a continual renewing of the mind and letting go of the ego that we have to work through in this awakening process. And it is not easy. I actually came across this in the last few days where I had somebody reach out to me very angrily about something I had posted on social media, and they took it as if, I was in their lane, basically. And not once did I even think about this person as I was posting or working on this part of my content. And it almost made me sad because this is somebody I had kind of hoped to work with in the future. One of the things I really love to do is help other people expand into their calling and to find their power. And to do that, you can't be threatened by it. You can't be threatened by somebody else's power if you're going to want them to expand and heal. Because a teacher is all about having the teacher or the students grow. And if students grow, they might outgrow you. And they might have something else to offer that you didn't have. It doesn't mean that you're going to lack or you're going to lose out or you're not going to have what you need to have, because it is all about your service. And maybe your service to this person is over. And that's where our limited mindset also comes in. We find attachment in things. We find attachment in what we do on the earth, and we try to find value in that, when really our value has nothing to do with what we actually do. Our value is we are just valuable. My best friend and I had a conversation this morning, and she talked about how she likes to joke around about how fabulous she is, and which she is. I agree. She's just, one of the best people I know on earth, and I love her so much. But we joke around about how amazing we are, and how, I always talk about how we're the Gail and Oprah, like the next Gail and Oprah. And it's funny, but neither of us are threatened by that, because we each are standing in our own power, and we don't have to be in competition to succeed, because we know that we both have a service to the world. We both want to help people. We both want to expand people into their thinking and their growth and their mindset. But if we became enemies and started to compete, then that's exactly the opposite of what we're trying to bring into this healing realm of the world. And I think that allowing ourselves to really dig in and see these parts of ourselves that are keeping us in a limited mindset, in the sacred, not believing there's enough for us, and scarcity mindset really is just something that has been programmed into us, and we can release that. And so I want to challenge you all as I work on this myself, because I told you in a prior podcast that sometimes I'm going to be very vulnerable with you about my struggles, and how, we always hear from people when they make it to the top. And I'm not saying I'm going anywhere to the top. However, I am, because I am worthy just as you are. You are worthy to go to the top just like I am. And so together we can move towards that, because there's no limit. There's none. We are the ones that put the limits on ourselves. I encourage you and challenge you in the next days or weeks or however long you feel like you need to work on this, to decrease the thought that I'm in competition with anybody, and stand in your power and believe that the universe has enough abundance and giftings and blessings for you, that there does scarcity mindset that keeps us in lack. I wish you all the best day, night, evening, whatever time it is for you. And I send you all the universal love that there is. Namaste.